Not what I wanted to see. Chain guide.
I'm tired.
What on earth? And that's our oil pump. I'd like to have a word with the sick son of a bitch. You guys want to see how to find a cheap 535 in 2025? The answer lies within here. If we take off this valve cover, what do we see? Cheap 535, cheap 535, cheap 535. That is a 535 with not one, not two, but three broken, sheared rocker arms. However, that damaged M30, not gonna scare us. We're gonna get this thing back on the road. So this is my new to me Bronzit 535i 5-speed, E34 of course. It has suffered quite the catastrophic engine damage, but we are going to get this thing fixed, back on the road in the most cost-effective and efficient way possible. I know I have some cars that I go over the top for. This is one of those cars. It's just best to do it efficiently and cheap, just so we can get it driving again. So the game plan here, we obviously have a damaged Valvetrain, 3 rocker arms snapped. Now, we don't know until we pull this head off just how bad things got. The best case scenario that we do right now, I'm planning on leaving the engine in the car. I don't really want to yank the entire engine. We're going to do a head off in the car, which I kind of hate doing, but it's an M30, so it shouldn't be too bad. For this episode, we're taking it back to the driveway, just like old times. We're gonna be doing all these repairs in my driveway, mainly because the shop is full. So, wish I didn't have to, but it is what it is. Pull a couple plugs, mainly on the cylinders that are damaged. I really want to see if there's any like destroyed spark plugs in there. So cylinder 3, which had damage, is alive, spark plugs. So that's a good indication that we didn't have a complete meltdown in the engine bay. This is good. Cylinder 2, which also had damage, spark plug is alive, and cylinder 1 is alive. All right, so that's enough of an indication here to tell us that whatever it is, it's not totally effed. Oh yeah, there we go. Get off these collectors. I mean, they're not rusty at all, so if there was any car to do it on, it's just to do it on this. Make my life easier. Yeah, for 4 extra nuts, worth the hassle of what that was causing me. Shit. Oh, you guys missed the fight. Camera tilted. Start pulling the harness stuff off. So that's out of the way. That's our overflow coolant. These are color coded. Can't mess these ones up. I forgot the sub harness goes underneath. There we go. Now with this out of the way, let's tuck that up here. And now we have access to the top bolts on our manifold. Top ones are easy to get to, bottom ones are nightmare. Easy. And off she comes. So easy. Ah, look at that. We have a bare head with, oh yeah, it's already moving because it's not got no studs. Now all that's left that's holding it on there is the timing chain. All right, so we're gonna line up our engine so it's at TDC. They took the nut off the, what the f are they thinking? Why would, I freaking hate people that do stupid things. Literally everything is in here except for the crank nut. Okay, well, let me look in the car itself for my Jesus nut. I'd like to have a word with the sick son of a bitch that takes off the crank nut and throws it in the garbage. I truly can't understand that. All the parts that were already off this are in the trunk, accounted for, organized. Crank nut is completely gone. Did it ever have one on there? Who knows? I took an intermission, grabbed myself a Bush Apple, if you're familiar. I don't drink when I work on cars, you guys probably know that, but it's Friday afternoon. I'm waiting on my friends to get here, and I figured I'm just doing this project while I'm waiting for the Alpina manual swap to get finished up. So I figured I'll drink while I'm doing it, have a beer. Since I don't have a crank nut, I got all the spark plugs out. And I'm gonna try to find TDC by hand. Oh no. Spins like there's major issues inside this engine. We just hit a total snag. It won't move anymore. Yeah, okay, head's just gonna have to come off. What do we care where the timing's at? Doesn't even matter at this point. It's all coming off anyway. Oh, one of our chain guides broken? Distributor drive. Ooh. Not what I wanted to see. Chain guide is destroyed. Oh, shit. Yeah, we did have a piston hit the valve. This thing skipped timing. Woo. Okay, what is going on in M30 land? Head gasket was fine. Oh my God, yeah, catastrophic chain failure. So here's the bottom end. Bores look fine. There really isn't any scoring or anything that I'd be worried about. I mean, there's a little bit here and there, but nothing you can feel. 2, 4, 5, and 6 kiss the valves pretty good. Probably maybe not see, but the guide down there, destroyed. This is supposed to be your upper, or the guide that runs the entire side of that engine. There's chunks all down there. I have a spare B35 in the storage unit. I'm debating if I just want to use that because this is not great. Parts. So I've gone through absolute hell. This simple cylinder head pull and replace rocker arms has turned into a nightmare. So the head off of that car, I told you guys I was going to tear them down and not film it. So I tore down the head from the car. Head ended up being extremely warped, unusable. Like I had to pound out the cam, garbage. So that head was trash. So I had a spare B35 and I thought, okay, yeah, I'll put that head on, no problem. So I tore down a spare B35. Turns out blown head gasket, and blue coolant is important. I know people think, whatever. That car didn't have blue coolant in it, and the head was destroyed from electrolysis or whatever you would call that. Here we are on our third cylinder head, thanks to Eric Engel at BMW Parts Bin for sending me this, because I have struck out on all my cylinder heads. So I had to wait a month to find one. He finally got one in stock. Oh, yeah, there's a little bit of rust in there. That's why that was so difficult. Oh, so there's our guide. So this guide, or the tensioner guide rail, cracked at the top, but is otherwise pretty much intact. Yeah. Let's get the chain out of the way. Chunks of guide. Well, surprise, we're at the shop. So we have dragged this car to the shop. I know I want to do this all in the driveway, but it is just not happening. This is a nightmare that's never ending. So yesterday, after we got the timing cover off, I found a bunch of broken chain, tensioner, or guide in the pan. I thought, okay, I probably got to pull the pan. Well, then, after that, I found 3 metal shims that were just lodged in the bottom of the oil pan right here. These were down in the pan, and then the final nail in the coffin, I'll play the clip. Okay, so let's take a look in there. And that's our oil pump. So the oil pump sprocket basically broke off the pump. So just catastrophic in all ways. This engine's just toast. So I gotta pull it. My hoist is here, the rest of my tools are here. I just brought the car here to pull the bottom end. Yep, as I said, sketchy. Hood is off. We're gonna leave the cord support. I'm not gonna tear this thing down all the way. I'm going to leave the power steering pump and the AC compressor with the car. I don't feel like draining power steering fluid. I don't feel like discharging the AC system. 2 motor mounts and we're done in the engine bay. Then I just gotta go under and remove the trans brace. And that's that. Now I gotta go underneath, pull off a couple of the transmission components. Let's do a pull. Look at that, didn't even have to adjust the load level. Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you how to pull a cylinder head and replace it and do a quick, easy fix on an M30. Except now, here we are at my shop, yanking the entire engine. How cool is that? All right, let's zip off this oil pan really quick. Broken chain guides, and a clogged pickup tube. Grateful that I did this. Yeah, there's our pilot bearing. Oh, I know why it fell out, because they greased it. What kind of moron? This is an old school M30 single mass on here. Stock too. Okay, so someone cooked here. Someone knew what they were doing, because that's this is my favorite thing to do on M30s. All right, so check this out. Here's the pan. We got chain guide, chain guide, chain guide, chain guide. Oh, there's a ton of it in here. I could just feel it. Oil pump, sprocket, nut. Interesting. So this literally came off the threads, and we'll go look at the engine itself and see if the oil pump threads are alive and it could be fixed, or if it's grenaded. More guide. So we have a little tensioner here, which appears to be broken. Yeah, it's broken. Oil pump chain drive, it just fell off. Nut just came out, undone. Pump itself looks fine. The sprocket splines got a little beat up. The sprocket is donezo. You look in there, you can see the splines at the edge are all damaged. Inside ones are fine, but the outside ones got spun around. And because of that, they don't want to seat all the way on. I'm tired. I've had enough of this M30 nonsense. Oh, God. Just let this be over with. Oh. Okay. All right, I'll get up off the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute roller coaster. You can see here, we got M30 madness all over. So I came on and said, I'm not gonna use this block. I'm gonna use my donor block because this one had an oil pump failure. Well, this is what my donor block looks like. What on earth is that? But that rusty bottom end is only half the problem with that block. So after I went through and I did my cleaning on the deck surface for the new head, I found a bunch of little cracks between the water jackets and the head bolt, basically ports. That's a bad thing. M30s are kind of known for that. I've personally never had that on an M30, but there's a first for everything. That engine had a really bad blown head gasket, really milky oil. It all kind of adds up. The head was destroyed. Weird cooling related issues on that thing from water. I don't know, but very problematic. So we're gonna stick with this car's original block. But we're gonna go ahead and use a different oil pump. Go ahead and pop this oil pump off. So slap this puppy on. If you remember earlier, I was wondering what those L brackets were. Those are the tensioning rods for the oil pump chain. So I didn't even realize that, and then this bushing is what it kind of rides on. M30s are not reverse threaded, but I will put a dab of Loctite on there. 25 Newton meters on the oil pump nut. I'm an idiot. I'm supposed to have that chain on there first. Tabs go on the outside of that little bush, and then the metal holds it just like that. Pump, tensioner, back on track. All right, that's all we're doing in the bottom end. So now I got RTV, both surfaces, brand new gasket. I have a cork gasket. I actually don't really like cork. I prefer the paper ones with RTV, but we're using what we got. Now, I am RTVing this because I've had bad luck with cork in the past. Got this pan all power washed up. All the debris that you guys saw is out of it. Time to torque it down, 89 inch-pounds. Guide on this side, which was destroyed. Slip the chain in there. Tensioner rail. Gaskets. Remember to get your tensioner rail in the little slot right here. Just like so. The final prep of the cylinder head deck surface, which at this point, if you guys don't know, I like to use my grinding stone, then some 600 grit roll lock wheel to kind of quickly clean it up. Now I did do my cleaning pattern of all the bolt holes, which again, if you don't know, I basically put brake cleaner in all of the head bolt holes. I use like a gun cleaner, like wire bristle, clean it out, compressed air, more brake clean, and you keep doing it until they are perfectly clean and perfectly dry. You do not want sludge in there. That's how you do what happened to the other head, which is you crack your, or the other block, where you crack your block because of the pressure. You want your deck to be completely dry, oil-free. You don't want nothing on it. This shouldn't be hard to get on, but my poor engine, the crank snout was a little beat up. You're looking for the OT mark, and TDC is your front cylinder, will be all the way up. Then we're ready for our cylinder head just about, and our head gasket, of course. And you know what time it is now. This bad boy right here. Okay, engine hoist arm. 317 foot-pounds. Okay, let's see how easy we can get to 300. So what are we at, 60? 130. 240. 260. I don't want to break my brand new torque wrench, so I'm going to our 3-foot breaker bar. That feels like 317 right there. I'll call that good. Just for fun of it. All right, easy as that. Brand new L-ring head gasket. All right, so our cylinder head obviously went to the machine shop, got resurfaced, checked for flatness, all good. I didn't do a full-on valve job on this head because I'm spending too much money as is. Now the bottom end is set to TDC and the head is set to TDC. The head has landed. Now on the oil spray bar, there is a niche little thing that if you don't know, you will damage your cylinder head. And I don't know if I've talked about it before. So the oil spray bar is directional. You cannot put this on either way. If you look very closely at the oil spray bar on the top here, these are both your ends. The end that goes at the front of the cylinder head, meaning front of the car, should have a V on it. There's a little V arrow, maybe you can see it hopefully, right here. So that is our V. That tells you towards the front of the head, because the oil spray bar has holes at the bottom, right? And that's what splashes on the cam lobes. If you don't have it directionally correct, you will starve 6 and you will over oil the other 6. So it is just not good, so don't do it. Now, it's also not a bad idea to Loctite your banjo bolts, 11 to 13 Newton meters. So I had to stop last night because I was missing one washer for my head studs. Really irritating. I found all but one, so I had to go home and grab more. But we got our torque instructions right here. That's the sequence for the M30. Brand new head bolts, that's an absolute must. So we'll start with sequence 1, 60 Newton meters. Now we wait 20 minutes. While I'm waiting, I'm gonna do the rear rubber ducky and this coolant neck, which I forgot to take off during the machine work. Okay, RTV here, RTV on this. Be sure to leave the channels open. You don't want to block the oil flow. So there's a new seal ring on this bolt right here. Now we go up to 80 Newton meters. We are done there. So now the next sequence, the engine has to be in the car, running, and then we will pull the valve cover off and do that. Okay, so we can get our sprocket on. This bolt hole you want marked with that little tick on the cylinder head, and then your locating dowel should be in the left corner. These holes should be perfectly vertical. Finally got these lined up. Sometimes it's kind of tricky. You really have to play with it. You want this side of the chain tight, the slack to be on this side, so that when you tension it, you don't slip the timing a little different. You want these to be horizontal or parallel with the head. These straight vertical. Locating pin right here. That's how you know you have done it. 10 Newton meters on these. Chains in action. Now we got to start with our tensioning. New crush washer. So the spring, the tapered end goes into the plug, and then obviously here is your tensioner rail or tensioner. So you slide that piston in and it should catch or go around the rail like so. Basically, you just fill this channel with oil. We've done it before. And you pump it until you basically can't do it by hand anymore. It'll get very, very difficult. There we go. 23 Newton meters. And that is our assembled M30. Now we'll pick this back up when the car's back here at the shop, and we'll drop it in. So I got a little carried away. I just started putting the engine in, forgot to set up the camera. I got the flywheel, clutch, pressure plate all on, transmission's on, and yeah, we're dropping it in. So now pretty much we line it up, and then comes the fun of just hooking everything back up. Wow. That was the easiest engine in place I probably have ever done. Now we're just gonna zip through. The AC compressor back on. Let's pop this relay box, and then we're gonna jump the fuel pump fuse so I can figure out what's what in terms of feed and return, because that's a surefire way to get a no start. I guess we'll just crank it. Before I crank it, I should put some oil in it. It should just crank right up as long as the starter connections are correct. Hell yeah, she's got crank. Oh, and it's got fuel. I didn't realize it was spraying fuel. So we found our return from the booster. We should be ready for our first fire up. Oil's in it. We don't have the radiator in yet, not important. I just want to make sure it runs and it sounds good. We got no exhaust on it yet either, because I actually got to do some drive shaft stuff still, but this video is about getting it running. So everything else that I took apart is unrelated. That was my own stupidity. There we go. There we go. She's coming to life. Yes, sir. That's it. Runs mint. Mint. Literally runs perfect. Another happy M30. Hell yeah, successful first start, fired right up. I'm stoked on that. I'm gonna really quickly now rip through, get the radiator in, get the things, the hoses, add some coolant to it, and then we'll bleed it, retorque the head studs, radiator going in. Now you may notice this is a different radiator. I'm keeping the aluminum for myself. It's a nice car, but it ain't that nice, you know? 1 and 2, our radiator clamps. Back to a fan clutch. Okay, open that up, and now you just fill it. There we go. All right, it's flowing. We are ready for our first fire up with an exhaust, first fire up with coolant. Get it up to temp, and then let it run 15, 20 minutes, and then we could retorque our head studs. Got the heat on full blast. Sounds good. Doesn't sound like it's got an exhaust leak or anything. Engine sounds fantastic. So it's the first time hearing it without open headers. So we actually can really hear the engine itself. And it sounds beautiful. It's quiet. I mean, super quiet. Okay, some exhaust manifold smoke. Not abnormal. Gaskets are wearing in, burning off, etc. I'll be here letting it run till operating temp. 167 degrees on the head. That's perfect. 176 in the thermostat housing. Again, that's perfect. We got hot heat in the car, temp gauge is in the middle. And now we have to do our final step of the head gasket torque. Hey. And it is time for step 3. So this step is after you run it up to operating temp, 30 to 40 degrees of angle. So I'm gonna do 35 degrees of angle. Final torque procedure is done. Takes his first steps. That right there is a running and driving 535 again. Check out that beauty. Sounds fantastic, runs fantastic. She is alive again. How exciting. And so our long journey and battle of this M30 is finally over. What started as a 3 rocker arm simple weekend replacement has turned into about 2 months, give or take, obviously, of on and off work, of basically a nightmare. Spare parts were bad, multiple heads were bad, nothing seeming to work, more work than I intended, but we have made it. My work here is done, so this car is gonna go up for sale. I did what I wanted to do with it. I don't care to keep the car. I basically just want to do this to show you guys how to do another M30 repair with no special tools and in your driveway, give or take. As of the day you guys are seeing this video, it's my birthday, so time for me to kick back and relax because I had a hard week with this car, hard couple months actually, so it's time for me to enjoy myself. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.